It's not the wild who's given me sleepless nights. You've never been north of the wall, so don't tell me what's out there.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction video. Today I actually want to talk about the possibilities of us seeing Benjen Stark again. Uncle Benjen is a beloved character, and he's also a bit of a mysterious one ever since he went missing beyond the wall in the very first season. This character was first introduced in Season 1, Episode 1, and that's when we learned that he was Ned Stark's brother and a First Ranger of the Night's Watch, stationed at Castle Black. When Jon Snow decides to join the Night's Watch, his uncle Benjen helps escort him to Castle Black. Shortly after that, Benjen tells Jon that he has to go out beyond the wall because they have been receiving some disturbing reports. Benjen then heads north with only a few men, and it doesn't take long for something to go terribly wrong. By the time Jon is ready to say his vows, Benjen's companions are already dead. While Jon and Sam are reciting the words in front of the weirwood tree, Jon's direwolf ghost finds a man's hand in the bushes. This leads them to discovering both men that went ranging beyond the wall with Benjen. And it wasn't until Season 6 that we learned what happened to Benjen. He was presumed dead the entire time, but since his body was never found, it could not be confirmed. My worst fears was that Benjen was turned into a full white, and the next time we would see him, he would be attempting to kill anyone he sees, including Jon or even Bran. Unfortunately for Benjen, he was attacked by the White Walkers. After he saved Bran and Mira, he revealed exactly what happened to him.
The White Walker stabbed me in the gut with a sword of ice. Left me there to die, to churn. His children found me. They stopped the Walkers' magic from taking hold. How? The same way they made the Walkers in the first place. You saw it yourself.
One of them stabbed him in the gut with a sword of ice, and he left Benjen to die and to turn into a white. Thankfully, the Children of the Forest found Benjen before that happened. They saved him before the Night King's magic could take hold. The interesting thing is, they saved him using the exact same method they used to create the Night King. They shoved dragonglass into Benjen's chest, which prevented the Night King from binding him to his will. Now, Benjen appears to be half human and half white. But what is he really? And can he still be killed by the others? The last time we saw Benjen was right before the Season 7 finale. Jon and his companions went beyond the wall to capture a white, but they were surrounded and nearly killed until Daenerys showed up with her dragons to save them. As Jon was running to get on the dragon, he was tackled by several whites, and they fell into the lake. Daenerys had to leave him because the Night King was taking aim to kill another one of her dragons. When Jon emerges from the lake, the whites either sense him or they hear him and they turn around and start running at him. But Benjen shows up just in time to save the day. He gives Jon his horse and he sends him on his way. And as Jon looks over his shoulder, he sees Benjen is surrounded and being overwhelmed by whites. It didn't appear as if Benjen was going to make it out of there, but does this mean we won't see him again? I think before anyone just assumes Benjen is gone for good, there is a few things we should consider before we jump to any conclusions. When Benjen reappeared in the show during Season 6, he was technically a completely different character. The Benjen Stark we now know is loosely based off a character from the books who goes by the name of Coldhands. The character in the books also helps Bran and Mira, but he was a little more involved, and there are also a few interesting things to learn about this character. Uncle Benjen and Coldhands from the books have several things in common. They were both in the Night's Watch, and they both conceal their face. They have very pale skin, but their hands are as black as tar. By looking at both characters, you could almost describe them as being dead. But the whites have blue eyes, and Benjen and Coldhands do not. Their eyes were very dark in color. Benjen told Bran that he was sent by the Three-Eyed Raven, just like Coldhands does in the books. Bran also notices that Coldhands does not eat, nor does he sleep. He did see Coldhands close his eyes, but he knew he wasn't sleeping. We didn't see Benjen enough to know if he doesn't eat or sleep either, but when he was draining the blood from the dead rabbits for Bran to drink, he did not eat any of the rabbit, so he probably doesn't eat either. The two main differences between Benjen and Coldhands was when they met up with Bran Stark. Obviously, Benjen doesn't help Bran until after the cave is attacked, but in the books, Coldhands meets Bran before he gets to the cave, and he helps escort Bran there in order to keep him safe during the long journey north. When Coldhands finally gets Bran to the cave, this is where one of the many important pieces of information about Coldhands is revealed. And this could be a clue as to what happened to Benjen after Jon saw him surrounded by whites. Right as the Three-Eyed Raven's cave was in sight, they come under attack, just like we saw in the show. Whites start popping up out of the ground and surrounding them. When Bran is safely inside the cave, he notices that Coldhands is still outside the cave, and he is surrounded by whites. Bran is worried that Coldhands is about to be killed because there are whites all around him. Bran looks to one of the children of the forest and he says, "What about the ranger?" But the children say he cannot come, which most likely means he can't enter the cave because of the magical force field. Just like when Benjen said he couldn't cross the wall.
The wall's not just ice and stone. Ancient spells were carved into its foundations. Strong magic. To protect men from what lies beyond it.
And while it stands, the dead cannot pass. I cannot pass.
But when the children tell Bran that Coldhands can't come inside the cave for safety, Bran then says they will kill him, and the children say no, they killed him long ago. Now that is very fascinating because that means Coldhands cannot die no matter how many whites have him surrounded. Whatever magic is keeping him going is very powerful, and the same thing could be said for Benjen Stark. We saw Benjen Stark surrounded by whites, just like Bran saw Coldhands surrounded by whites, but the children said no, they cannot kill him. Now I do have to say, this doesn't mean we will see him again, but I thought it was something that should be at least noted. Since Benjen has dragonglass in his heart, just like the Night King, there is no telling how powerful he actually is. When you combine that with his Stark blood, which we all know is a very magical bloodline, he might be capable of things that we are still unaware of. Ultimately, it will be up to the writers of the show to decide if they want to expand on Uncle Coldhand's story or not, and the chances of this may be extremely low. But I know me personally, I would love to see Benjen again. I feel like this character was highly underused because there was so much more they could have done with him. But I guess we will have to wait and see if they want to surprise anyone one last time by having him show up in the final season. Let me know your thoughts on this topic though. Even if you don't think we will see him again, let me know if you actually think he died after he saved Jon. Before I go, I also want to thank everyone. I keep forgetting to show you this, but I finally received my silver play button for getting over 100,000 subscribers to this channel. I do have to say, when I first decided to start a channel, I could only hope that one day I would reach this milestone, but I never could have imagined I would have reached it this fast. And I have to thank all of you for that. If you didn't subscribe, I never would have achieved this, so I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you because I do truly appreciate this. And I also want to thank my Patreon supporters who contribute to this channel every single month. That truly means a lot to me too. Have a great day everyone. I will see you in the next one. Bye.